Because it's going on. Hopefully. Is it finally working?
Man, my shirt looks like shit.
We're
live. How do you see the comments over there?
They're over here.
Oh, they're coming.
Sorry.
They're coming.
We're late.
Let's try this again. Yeah.
It's
Good
raining.
Idea. Good idea.
Okay.
Oh, here they go. Here
what
they
happened?
go. Shirt is fine. Yeah, I got rained on, man.
It's raining and we're late, but
Okay.
sorry, guys.
Where are we at?
We're at.
Oh, there they go. Hello, what's up? Hello, hello. It's going really fast again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Chief was handling business. Maybe.
You handle business?
I don't know. All right.
Okay.
This is part 2.
Part 2.
It's funny because when I watch other people's lives, before we get started, when I watch other people's live stuff, because I watch a lot of live stuff, they always say like, oh, we're going to wait and let some people get on here, and then they go do whatever they're going to do and all that. It doesn't seem like we have to do that. Like
There's already 600 people.
Yeah, as soon as we turn it on, the comments are flying.
He says he likes your shirt. What kind of rant can we get Big Chief on tonight? Hopefully a good one.
That's the thing. Yeah, you never know where I'm going to go. I'm just going to start ranting and raving about shit, and I'm hoping that you guys will ask questions that don't send me off into God knows where.
They said they like the lighting.
Yeah, what do you think? Jackie fixed this place all up.
I got it spooky.
It no longer looks like we're in a storage container on a ship somewhere headed for Turkey.
He said, are you losing weight?
Me? Yeah. Summertime.
You've been working out.
Summertime. Summertime. Yeah, in the summertime I drop weight and I lose some strength too, and it sucks. I can't eat enough. I don't feel like eating enough. I can't eat enough, and I end up losing weight and strength, and it destroys me mentally. But all right, where are we at for the questions?
I saw some good ones on my story, so we'll start there.
There we go. Will we see the Chromod again?
No, that's later.
Oh, that's later. Sorry.
I have that on my notes. Are the good ones?
Exile. I was just trying to.
We're starting with the easy ones, the light ones.
Exil's trying to. That guy's trying to take a shortcut to the
That's
questions.
part of the main course dinner.
Yeah.
We're in the appetizers.
Yeah, you're trying to have the dessert.
Diecast car questions.
Jackie said, did you see your car with JJ? Yeah. Can y'all believe what she did to me? Can y'all believe what she did to me on TV?
He calls it a piece of shit. He calls it, what else do you call it?
I call it lots of things. It depends on how the day is going. Depends on what I call that car. But
I think some of the fans are more butthurt that I called it that than you are, but whatever.
Yeah, man. I've read some of the fans, and she reads me some of the comments, and the people that were mad about her calling my car ugly or saying that, it just kills me because they're chewing her up on.
But y'all call it ugly all
Instagram.
the time. Y'all are like, paint that car. It's so ugly. But when I say it's ugly, I wasn't saying the car is ugly. It's the paint is ugly.
They jumped all over her online. They're like, can you believe what she said about his car? I would ditch that hoe. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I know. Me too. I would ditch her too, but I can't.
Because I'll call it you. Would you let me make a passenger crow?
What? They probably can't hear you.
Would you let me make a pass in your crow?
Voice is so annoying. Everybody says online. That's what they all say. Everybody says. I read this.
If you know how to fix it, let me know.
I'm reading comments more now than I ever have, and the comments about Jackie's voice are
fucking annoying.
Ridiculous. I mean, it's like you can talk. If you don't like her, say you don't like her. If you don't like what she says, say you don't like what she says. If she doesn't have anything to say worth a shit, then say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you shit on the one thing I can't fix.
But
I can gain weight, I can lose weight, I can fix my hair, I can do whatever the fuck, but I can't fix my voice. But if any of you guys know how, let me know.
It's so funny though. That's what they're doing. They're just like, I can't stand her voice. Every time she talks, It's like fingernails on a chalkboard. And then you look at their profile picture and they're fucking, some heifer, it's 280, and she's hanging on to a toothless ass dude, and they've got this, both of their names are on the Facebook page. It's like Daryl and Deborah, and and they're shitting on her voice. Yeah.
The people that are fucking, like, lose weight, like, I can do that, but
beauty pageant winners.
Yeah.
Perfect DNA specimens talking shit about Jackie's voice is funny. Anyway, sorry.
Moving on. Do you like to race small tires?
Do I like to race small tires? Like against small tire guy?
Do you like to put your car on small tires?
No. I like the thought of it. And I find myself doing it over and over and over again, even though I'm not very good at it. I like to do small tires at the track, like the Chrome Mod on radials was fun. It was cool, and it was easy, and it was fast. But no, my car on small tires is not very, I don't know, competitive.
You like to do small tires on a small tire car. Like on my car, it stays small tire, and you like to do that, but you don't drive it. But
yeah, I like
taking a big tire car and putting small tires on it isn't fun.
Yeah, not for me. A lot of guys can do it, and they can switch back and forth. Ryan Mitchell, for example, that dude can switch back and forth in the same weekend, and he can win back-to-back races. And it looks like he has as much fun on small tires as he does on big tires, and vice versa. So, there are some people and some cars that works better on. My car, no, I just don't ever have the time to concentrate on making it work with small tires. So,
because it takes a long time to take all of the parts out of your car that we use for big tire. Like you have to change all the gears and everything.
It'd be different. I mean, so.
But then once you get all of the work done, then you have to do all of the testing.
It used to be easier. Yeah. I'll just say that. Like back when we first started the show, like second season, third season, I would do that all the time, and it was easy. I was still competitive on small tires. I remember back then I went to a couple of finals. I went to a final at Armageddon on small tires before, and I think I may have went to a final on a couple other small tire events. Like, it was easier because the car only ran like 430s on big tires. So putting small tires on it wasn't a big deal, you know what I mean? But it's whenever you take that leap to 3-second territory on big tires, going back to small tires, it's tough. And then I always wait till the last minute. I'm sitting around and nothing to do, and there's a small tire cash days going on. I'm like, oh yeah, no big. We can put my car on small tires tonight. We'll be there tomorrow. And I always go down there and get my face kicked in. So
because there's no testing.
It's not something I'm super good at. But like the 28-inch tire stuff, I love doing it. I love tuning 28-inch tire cars. I love watching them. That stuff to me is super fun, especially on the street, because, the man with the biggest pocket doesn't always win that deal. The street is the equal. In that case, the street is the equalizer. You know what I mean? And a lot of stuff we do, the street is being the equalizer part of the street's kind of being taken out of it with some of the money, and then racing at the same spot for so long that the street's no longer the equalizer. And the 28-inch tire real street stuff, man, it really comes down to who's got their shit together. I love, going and doing it, watching it, tuning on those cars. But now as far as my car on small tires, I suck at that.
It's hard. Yeah. But it's also hard, I think, to take a small tire car and put it on big tires,
Like I said, though, if the goal is less, you know what I mean? So if you have a small tire car and you put it on big tires, you try and run 430s or 440s, or if you have a 430 big tire car and you put it on small tire cars, try and turn it down to go 480s or whatever. I think that's, a lot easier and probably more fun. But, once you've made that leap, it'd be just like if you had a, 430 small tire car and you wanted to put big tires on it and go threes. You know what I mean? It'd be a lot of work. There's a lot of people that are finding out the hard way. It's not as easy as it looks.
But that shows how much credit Ryan Mitchell deserves for being able to switch like that.
Yeah, for sure. Any of those guys that can switch back and forth and win races, my hat's off to them. I respect their game. Every time I see it or hear about it, it's pretty amazing.
A lot of people ask about the RC cars, and there's a lot of questions. I think a lot about like what you run, but outside of that, a lot of the questions that I got on this story that I did last night, a lot of people want to know about Crow and Cadillac RC bodies.
Oh, like RC drag racing, RC car drag racing, 1/10 scale drag racing.
Like this guy said, would Chief let someone make an RC body of the Crow?
Yeah, I mean, there's with the 1/10 scale RC racing blowing up, especially the no prep stuff is getting huge. Because you can do it anywhere. I mean, you can do it in a street in front of your house. You can do it in a church parking lot. You can do it wherever you want to do it, and you don't have to have a bunch of equipment or nothing. You should use a flashlight, and guys get down for money, and so it's blowing up. It's getting huge, and there are companies that make the GTO body. There's companies that make the Cadillac body. There's companies that make all kinds of crazy bodies, and yeah, there's all kinds of. You can just if you just search it, there's all kinds of RC cars that have already been built that are just like our race cars, which is really cool and flattering. But as far as RC drag racing and stuff, it's just something that I started doing on Sundays with my kids, and we love it. And Jackie got them DR10s for Christmas, so we've been racing them every weekend. Every time we can, we race the RC cars all day long in front of my house, and then and of course I have to take everything too far, so I have a car of my own that I have tried to make even faster and faster and faster, and it's getting out of control. So, but it's just it's literally 1/10 scale. Everything else is the same. It's crazy.
But some back to the question. There is a GTO and there is a CTSV.
Yeah, I said that.
And we may be helping someone a little bit. And there's a Crow mod.
Oh yeah, the latest body that's out is the Crow mod body, but there's big things in the works. It's gonna, it'll be pretty cool for all you guys that are into RC drag racing or follow it or want to get into it. The technology and the body styles and stuff has come a long way.
Oh, whoa. No.
Okay.
Oh boy. Yes.
Battery or nitro battery for electric for sure.
I don't think you have any of the nitro ones, do you?
Not anymore.
Wait some up there.
I'm looking. What do you got?
Don't wear flip flops, right?
What?
I only did that one time on accident.
No, I think they're talking about the guy that got hit at the race last time.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a guy in flip flops.
I was wearing flip flops there, but
that got hit by an RC car at a drag race we were at a couple weeks ago, and dude, I don't know. By the looks of it, they were gonna have to amputate his foot. It was crazy. Those things are
it swelled up fast.
2,200 gram cars or 2-3 pound cars, and they're going 80 miles an hour in 2 seconds. So that's like a flying 80-pound hammer, or flying 80-mile-an-hour hammer coming at you. And so if it hits you in the foot, it's probably not a good thing. Jackie, you look amazing. I agree.
Thanks. What's up with your
Chiefs Native Heritage, Eastern Band Cherokee? Yeah. My people were the Cherokee folks in the eastern United States, Kentucky, Virginia, that area, and they didn't make the walk, so they didn't go to Oklahoma back then like everybody else did. So they hid out and did whatever they could. So that's kind of why it's called Eastern Band. But then somehow I made the walk without walking it, so I ended up in Oklahoma with the rest of them.
What made you want to paint your OG Crow white?
What made me want to paint the OG Crow white? It was just something about, the crow and that whole crow thing, and the journey of that crow. And then I was looking around online, and there's a bunch of native stuff about white crows, and white crows have always been kind of a weird thing for everyone, so it was always something I kind of thought about. And then once the car started looking better and running better and, started turning into, it was hard to keep the crow look when the car kept getting nicer and faster. So as it got nicer and faster, it was like, man, it's starting not to look like a crow anymore. So I figured paint it white, and then, you know, then it can look really nice and still be a crow.
Explain your 2-step and 3-step. How do you build boosts so quickly? Maybe vaguely.
Yeah, vague is, I don't do vague very well, but I can try it on this one. 2-step and 3-step. So the goal of a turbo car is to build boost on the starting line. It needs air in order to make power. So it needs boost. In order to make boost, it has to have air, or it has to spin the exhaust turbine of the turbo wheel. So in order to do that, you got to get the RPM up, and it's really hard to do that without air. It's kind of the chicken or the egg thing. It's hard to get air without air, and it's hard to make air unless you have air. So easiest way to do it for me has been to drop cylinders on a rev limiter. So put it up against a rev limiter and drop cylinders, and then over fuel it. And so when you drop that cylinder, when that cylinder fires the next time, it has extra fuel, and so it backfires basically. And the backfire in the exhaust is a giant pressure surge, so that pressure wave goes through the exhaust and hits the turbine wheel, and it spins the turbo a little faster. So every time it pops, it spins it a little faster. It's little explosions in there spinning that wheel. So it's boom, 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 boom until it's going fast enough that it makes
That's a big pop.
the amount of boost that you want. Yeah. So I usually do a 3-step RPM, 2 different stage RPM. So it'll go up and hit one chip, and then you can make it to where it hits goes up even higher and hits another chip, or you can make it to where it goes up really high and then hits a chip and then comes back down to launch RPM. It just depends on the situation you're racing in. But the biggest thing is the tip-in tuning, so accelerator, pump fuel, stuff like that, and having the fuel map, nice and dynamic. And so when you step on the gas, you get the most RPM out of the motor before the popping and all the crazy shit takes off. But when it comes to turbo stuff, that's one of the bigger pain in the ass about running those cars is the staging procedure. Once you get it down, though, it's just like everything else. Just try and do it faster and faster every time.
Changes per where we are, though. Like when people struggled to spool in Nebraska, or like when we did NPK Colorado, like the less air there is, the harder to spool.
Yeah, exactly. And you need air. So the less air you have up high, the motor has less power on its own without the turbos. So it's hard to get it up in RPM. You need RPM to make the air or whatever. So it's kind of this weird balance. So that's one of the things you'll see me work on the most when I get somewhere is spool tuning, because I just can't stand not being able to stage like everybody else, So yeah, getting it to spool right is, once you do that, your confidence level goes up. The tuning gets better. And you're not working on that every pass. So instead of working on the spooling and the pass, or every pass it leaves at a different boost or a different RPM or whatever, you just chase your ass like that. It's pointless. The best thing you can do is get that done early. You don't have to have a street to do that. You can do that in a hotel parking lot or whatever. Get the spooling tuning done early, and then when you get wherever you're going, you don't have to worry about that. You just work on making power and getting down the road.
Yeah, like when we got to Colorado, we went a little early and we spooled for days.
It took a while.
When we got to Nebraska, we did it in the hotel parking lot. That part doesn't require any movement. It's just work.
Yeah, it's just work. You just have to be methodical. You have to be diligent. You have to go out there, put it on the brake, and then you have to cool it all the way down. You have to do it the same every time, just as you would when you're racing. So, you have to do that over and over and over again. And it sucks. You have to keep the same amount of fuel in the car. You have to keep the same voltage. Like, you basically have to do the in-between round maintenance every time after you spool it. And, sometimes I'll change the training fluid 2 or 3 times before I'm done spool testing, just because as you make 20, 30 spool ups, the training fluid will lose viscosity, and then it spools up really easy, and you think you're a badass, and you're like, oh man, this thing went up in 3 seconds, I'm ready. But you go up there to race and you put it on the brake, when you let go, it ain't got no power because it's just mowing through the converter. So
yes,
it's all about changing one thing, doing it, and then doing it the same way. It's all routine, which for somebody who's obsessive, compulsive, and ADD and everything else you can think of, it's, that's kind of my thing, is being able to write down one little note. I changed one little thing and this is what it did, and changed one little thing and this is what it did. But
yeah, we're very ritual in our racing as far as like our program. Like we write down every change that we make. We have a routine that we do. Like we're just very
yeah, I didn't used to be good at that.
consistent.
I was the guy who changed 20 things at once because I thought I was smarter than everybody else. And then, but Jackie doing the bracket race stuff and, trying to run that number,
Yeah.
that dial-in number every time, she had to know the weather conditions and when they changed, what it did to the car. And she had, she knew that if she had the notes on all that stuff, it helped. Well, when she implemented that into our program, it was, man, it was a night and day difference. It was just like all of a sudden, you quit going back to the same tune-up that didn't work because you have it written down. Like about every 3 days, I would say, you know what I want to try? I want to try dropping this and raising this. And then she'd look at the notes and say, yeah, we did that yesterday. I'm like, what? For real? And it didn't work? Like, so the note thing is, that most of drag racing is one in the data and the notes and how you read the data and how well you maintain the notes. That goes for any sort of drag racing. I don't care what you're drag racing, that matters.
There's just so much going on that you'll forget. Like there's no way you can remember every change that you make if you don't write it down, or there's a lot of times that we'll go race somewhere and we'll get there and we'll be like, okay, well, last time we raced here, we ran this tire pressure. And he'll be like, yeah, we ran this. And I'm like, no, we ran this. And we're so competitive that we'll go pull up our note from that day and see who was right.
Yeah, we argue about that shit. We'll argue. We'll be screaming and throwing shit at each other. I'll be like, we were on the Goodyear tire then, you fucking idiot. And
I'll like pull up a video of it and I'm like, no, we're not. Yeah. Like
we argue all the time.
That's just that's also what makes us win, is we're
not going to
passionate. We'll go there and we're like, yeah, whatever.
We're not just going to say, okay, whatever you say, honey. If she says we were on the Goodyear Hoosier and I say we were on the Goodyear, we're not just going to pick something in the middle. We're going to fight about that until we figure it out and we can throw it in the other one's face.
We'll be asking other people, we're like, Jeff, do you have a picture?
And then we'll know what tire pressure we need to run.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people, I saw a lot of comments about why don't we race quarter mile.
What do you mean? I would love to race quarter mile.
On the street, it's not.
Oh, just why don't we in general?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the street, it's too fast, and it's.
I mean, you're talking about my steel body car right now. It's been 390 in the 8th, and it's been 194 mile an hour on big tire in the 8th mile. So you think about, it slows down on the street a little bit, So when the road's bare and there's nothing down, it does slow the car down, but it doesn't slow the car down to 80s or 90s or 50s. Like it slows the car down a little bit, When we first get there, I might only be able to go 40s or 50s, but after a few licks, I can go 30s just about anywhere. So it's just depending on how you do it. You're either going to go 30s by leaving really hard if there's good starting line, or you go 30s by leaving smooth and consistent and then, pouring the shit to it out the back and using the wing and the tire size and everything else. There's different ways of doing it, but the result is the same. I'm going to run 40s really quick, just about anywhere. There's only a few roads I've ever been to that I didn't run, 40s or 50s before we left there. So, and even when my car runs 40s, it can run 160 on the street. So you think about something that does 160 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour on the street in 660 foot. Okay, there's so much that can go wrong there. You've seen the accidents that can happen in 660 feet. I mean, if you just look through the 10 years that we've been doing this, the amount of terrible crashes that have happened in 660 feet in 4 seconds, the crazy shit that can happen. Now, think about that times 2. So, and not just times 2, it actually multiplies because the second half, the average mile per hour is way more than the first half. In the first half, you're starting from 0 and you're going up through. In the second half, the second 660 feet, I'd be starting at 160 miles an hour.
Right.
So the just the amount of shit that can go wrong in the last 2 or 3 seconds is just
It's just not safe.
very scary. So then you take that and you put that on top of finding a road that will do that. Finding a road that's safe enough or that's smart enough to put 2 cars down through there at 160 in the eighth and 230, 220 in the quarter, like or even if they only went 190 or 200 in the quarter, like still that's sustained 160 to 200 mile an hour for 600 feet. A lot can go wrong there. So the shutdown distance multiplies by 4. So if we need 2,200 foot to shut down an eighth mile, and that's for some guys that's cutting it close, believe it or not. So you can imagine in the quarter mile we're going to need 4,000 feet to shut down.
You don't just start shutting down right at 661 foot. You're still in the gas through.
Yeah, especially if it's a close race, you're going to be in the gas through. And at 160 mile an hour, I mean, you're going squares of concrete per second, so for every split second you're still on the gas, you're traveling a lot of ground really fast. So quarter mile stuff it's just hard. It's just going to be hard to find a place to do it. And then, to be real honest with you, if someone gave me a spot that was good for quarter mile and they said they were going to hold a quarter mile event, I'd be down to do it. But I mean, what are you going to get? 5 guys, because after you click 660 foot, it's money from there. I mean, it's all who has the most horsepower, and horsepower is just money. You know what I mean? There's nothing about horsepower that's passed down from generations or learned from, all this, you know what I mean? Like there is for the guys who build the horsepower and make the horsepower, but for the car owners and drivers, it's just a phone call. It's a credit card. You give them your credit card number and they send you 2 or 3 of them or whatever, and you can have more horsepower than anybody out there. So, the races that you see in the eighth of a mile that are within a half a car length all the time, and they're really close, and sometimes you got to go to the footage and figure out who won. And a quarter mile, you'd never have to do that. You wouldn't even need a fucking finish line guy in quarter mile. And quarter mile, it's going to be bad. We used to race quarter mile on the street in Oklahoma City, and there was never a race that was a door. You know what I mean? It was never like that. Just because after 600 foot, you're basically roll racing from there. Whoever has the most horsepower is just going to go. And you could have and think about it, none of the nitrous guys would want to do it. I mean, you look at NHRA Pro Mod, they'd lose nitrous guys, they've been losing them for years. So the only guys that are really still doing it are the ones that just won't change to nothing else. So, if you were a nitrous guy on the street, you start eating parts at 661 foot, why would you put it through that? So right. I just feel like there's no room for quarter mile in what I do anyway. So, and until something changes drastically with safety or with rules or roads or whatever the fuck it is, then yeah, you're not going to see any quarter mile stuff on the street.
I do quarter mile at the track, but that's about it.
I mean, some of the slower stuff, you could, I mean, when it was 9 and 10 second cars, you could run quarter mile on the street, but even then it sucked because there was, you could work on your shit all day and you could put 2 cars on somebody out of the hole and you could have them by a car length at the 8th mile and they're going to put 3 on you by the quarter mile just because they have more horsepower. So, that's a tough one. Quarter mile is really hard to run heads up quarter mile. That's, that's left for the elite of the elite. That's left for NHRA Pro Mod. That's really it, right? NHRA Pro Stock, Pro Mod, that's it. Mm-hmm. Top Sportsman, which is bracket mostly. So yeah, heads up quarter mile is left for the elite of elite door car racers, and it's not something that we could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have enough teams that would even want to. And then if you did, they'd be dying like drag boat guys every day. So no thanks.
There's a million people that keep asking if you're teaching me how to tune. And
if I'm teaching you how to tune?
Yeah.
Like fuel maps and stuff?
Honestly, I have a lot of knowledge on motors and how things work. and I can read data. But no.
When it comes to tuning, tuning is a broad spectrum. Like when you guys say that word, I could go on for fucking hours on that. Anything that has that word in it, because tuning could be something as easy as, turning nuts on a 4-link or, hitting spacebar on a computer, or it could be as deep as the whole package from tire pressure to wheelie bar to everything. That's all tuning. So she knows how to tune the car as far as she can take a run and she can look at a video and she can look at data and she can tell me what it's doing here and what it's doing there. And, she can take the tune out of the car. She can load a tune in the car. She can tell me if something looks weird. She's really good at the software and stuff. And she knows, she can look at the pan back and tell me if it's, if it's checking out or whatever. She's, she can do all that. And she could add and take fuel away. You know what I mean?
Well, we can talk about things like if we're both looking at the computer, like, and the data is up, I can be like, but your shift here looks weird or something,
Yeah, she can see trends. You know what I mean? She's really good at noticing trends. So if I have something weird in the run or something weird in the data, I don't know what it is, I'll turn the cursor on at 2.2 or whatever, and then I'll turn everything off and I'll start clicking one channel at a time. And you'll start to see something with all the channels at 2.2. Something is happening, and it's a trend. And so she can see that. She can look at that and say, okay, yeah, something weird here, whatever. It actually started back here, and we need to change that. She can do all that. But as far as like her writing a tune file or calibration from scratch with fueling and timing and injector pulse width and all that stuff, like, that's stuff that, you know what I mean, that she doesn't.
Nobody can do.
She doesn't. Yeah, I mean, that's
like what people hire Steve Petty to do. You know.
I do it. I'm just not as good as Steve Petty at it, but I mean, I can.
Like the average person can't do it, but I'm also not. I'm not interested in doing that. Like I much rather work on the car, turn the car around, car tuning instead of motor tuning, if that makes sense. Like,
man. There's a lot on there about MPK.
We're getting there.
Are we? Is that part of the deal today?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll start on my Post-its.
Okay.
I put these in.
Do you have anything about the Memphis show on there?
I do. That was on my first Post-it.
Good. Let's talk about that.
So we're going to start with...
Don't worry. We're going to get into MPK. It's just...
Yes. MPK
is a touchy subject, and when we go on to that and we get down that road, you never know. They could shut our power off, or they could kill our live stream. They could slide down in here like Mission Impossible and take us out. So we want to wait till we get most of the other stuff covered before we get shut down.
And he'll probably rant on it.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna go. You get me turned loose on something like that, I'm just gonna go.
We'll talk about kind of recap how the Memphis deal, how we got into that. I've seen so many comments about that we abandoned the 405, that we were doing that instead of no prep, that we're joining MSO now. A lot of crazy things that we went because we were paid to. Like,
we went where because we were paid to?
They said that we went to that race because it's in your discovery contract and they made you. Like, none of that is true. We went because it's a race. Like,
yeah. So
just like the other 30 guys that are there.
Yeah, we've told the story, but I guess obviously we're not telling it in deep enough detail or whatever. People aren't believing it, but it's flat out as easy as it can be. There's no hidden agendas or, there's no checks, there's no payments, nothing like that. We left America's List. It was America's List, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we left America's List. We went home. When we're off, she races. So when I get done with whatever I'm doing, she wants to go racing. That's what, and it kills her right now that she's not racing because I'm building her car, but that's what she wants to do. So we came home from America's List. She wanted to go racing, so we started getting her car ready. We started doing stuff with it, and then, this was October of last year.
Yeah, it was not at all this year. It wasn't this year. It wasn't during No Prep Kings. It literally...
No, it was before No Prep Kings was even a thing. It was before...
It was when No Prep Kings last year was canceled.
Before COVID, right? No, it wasn't before COVID?
It was last Halloween.
No, it was before COVID ended or whatever. It was still during COVID, right?
Yeah, it was still during lockdowns.
Yeah, because we had to wear masks on the plane and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it was October, whatever, last year, and we were at home. We were doing our thing, and JJ called and said he was putting on a big small tire cash days, and wanted to know if she wanted to race in it, and she told him yeah. So then we were getting our car ready, and we told the story, but just I guess people don't believe this. But then, so we were getting our car ready. Well, the thing with JJ is JJ doesn't work like you think he works. You know what I mean? Like everybody, huh?
You're not being loud enough.
I'm not. Oh, hello. It's not moving. Hello.
Hello.
Am I loud enough or no?
Can y'all hear him? Keep going.
How do you change that?
Whenever I talk, it goes on 2 normally.
Okay, well.
Yeah, they said you're good.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
Okay. See? Fucking asshole. Made me stop for no goddamn reason. Okay. So JJ works different than what you think. You see him on the show, you think he's, acting a fool, and that's just an act or whatever, and you think he's a paid TV star that does whatever Discovery tells him or whatever. And I can promise you, that what you see on TV is what you get with JJ all the time. When JJ asked us to come to the race, that was not Pilgrim asking us, that was not Discovery asking us, that was JJ asking us. And if you've ever done anything with JJ, you know that that's all that is. When he asks you to come, it's not an offer from the TV show. It's just from him to me. Just like when I invited him to come on the OKC show years ago, it was just from me to him. There wasn't, we didn't tell the producers everything that was going on. We didn't, try and get JJ paid to be on the show or nothing like that. That's not how we roll. It was just your street, our street. So come street in this big thing I'm doing or whatever. And then, that's how. So when JJ asked her to be on that, it wasn't to be on the show. It wasn't like, hey, come be on the season premiere of Memphis. Like,
we didn't even know it was.
JJ doesn't talk like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't say.
He just said, come out to this race.
Yeah, he just said, I'm putting on a big cash days race, small tire, 29, whatever. Bring your car. It'll be cool. And she said, yeah.
Because that's what I do in our time off anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And if you ask Toby or any of those other guys, that's what she's been to his races, and we never even told them we were coming. We just showed up. And the same thing with JJ's race. When JJ asked us to go, it wasn't part of the show. So we didn't contact production. We didn't contact Discovery Channel. We didn't tell them we were coming. We didn't ask for nothing. We didn't ask for hotel rooms or flights or nothing. That's just...
No, we paid for it on our own.
That's just not how that works. Now, totally different if Pilgrim or Discovery had asked us to be in that race or asked Jackie to be in that race. Then you're in a different position. You can ask for money, or you could negotiate your own way or whatever. Or it could be a favor that you owe or whatever. Business is business, just like any other business in the world. You know what I mean? They're going to ask you to do different stuff, and you're going to have to do it whether you're on the clock or not. That wasn't this. This was literally JJ saying, come to this race. Had nothing to do with cameras or nothing. So we didn't get paid. They didn't even know we were coming. Like, we showed up, and the executive, we showed up to the COVID test the day before, the day of, and the producers didn't even know we were going to be there. Like, it wasn't.
Like,
it wasn't like everybody thinks. Everybody always thinks, oh man, they only went because they got paid to go. Or for those of you that are saying that I ditched the 405 or whatever.
The 405 was at home in the ice storm.
Well, yeah, the power was out here. We had the biggest ice storm ever. And I asked everybody in the 405, I even put it in there. I said, hey, JJ's putting on a $16,000 cash days race or whatever. It's however much to win. It's on chip seal. It's on a total shit road in Vegas. I know that nobody has anything running right now because it's dead of fucking winter and we just got done with America's List. But if anybody wants to roll, we're going to go out there. That was it. Like, it wasn't me ditching anybody. It wasn't me, you know what I mean? Nobody was.
There wasn't anything else going on.
Yeah.
We hadn't even been home, and we were home for like a week.
At that point in time, we were still under the impression that we were going back to street racing in March or whatever. So we were just getting ready for the next year of street stuff. We weren't, you know, we weren't even, hell, we filmed a whole episode of street television, or a whole season of street television, before MPK even started. So it wasn't like I ditched them for anything.
Yeah.
We went to that race. We came home from that race. We chilled out through Christmas. Then we went and started filming the 405 show, and then MPK got announced. So I didn't ditch anybody for Memphis, and we haven't been back there since. We didn't even go to Memphis then. We went to Vegas. So for anybody who thinks that that's what's going on, that's so far from, you know what I mean? It's just like when we went to the Kansas 28-inch tire race 2 years ago or whatever in our time off. We didn't ditch anybody to go up there. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't.
When all of the other people in that race didn't ditch anybody.
Yeah, we went to St. Louis for a 28-inch tire race. And that's the other thing. It's weird how whenever we do something, it's me, it's Chiefs ditching the 405, or Chiefs joining Memphis, or Chiefs, leaving OKC for Memphis or whatever.
Or sellout or whatever.
But like, there was, how many other racers were there? There was 30 other racers in the small tire race, and JJ had. None of them guys got accused of joining Memphis or ditching all their buddies or whatever. It was just going to a fucking race. That's it. Literally going to a race. We paid our entry fee out of my fucking pocket, and we raced. That was it. And we didn't even plan on doing that. We just wanted to go because I had tore her car up because I knew that it was going to take horsepower because the road was shit. So I knew we were going to have to leave soft and consistent, and then just pour the power to it out the back. And I knew that she was going to be down on horsepower, and she was going to be way out of her league on weight of the car, because her car was 4,200 pounds. So on that surface, on a 28-inch tire, I was like, man, we're outgunned. So we went to the racetrack here, and we tried to find some horsepower, and I ended up tearing it up. It had been sitting all winter. We broke the harmonic balancer right before we went to Nebraska. And to be honest with you, it needed to be rebuilt because we drove it. She drove it 50 miles home from a race with a broken harmonic balancer.
And
it and it was shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds. So the motor needed to be rebuilt anyway. The bearings were beat out of it. The mains were busted. Like, it was wounded. But when we came home from America's List and got invited to this race, it was just, oh yeah, heck yeah, it runs great. The last race we went to, she drove it home. We forgot all about all the shit that we had done to it to make that last race. So when we took it to the track and started to find power, that's when we noticed it was wounded and it needed to come apart. And so I told her, I was like, look, I can't. I could patch this thing together. I was going to take the motor out of my Tahoe and I was going to put it in her car, but with no power and the lifts and stuff not working, it was just like, man, this is going to kick our ass. And
it just wasn't meant to be.
And if we were going to leave, we would have had to have left that night. So I was going to have to pull the motor out of my Tahoe, put pistons in it, put it in her car, and make everything fit and tune it.
And get all the blower
within like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So it was,
just wasn't going to
But
happen.
Trust me, I was about ready. I had generators here. We were about ready to do it, but it just got to the point where it was like, man, we're going to spend all this money and time to fuck this car up, and we're probably still not going to win because the car isn't fast enough. At the time,
and
it just
was
wasn't.
Still independent rear, so
it was all
just
stock.
Didn't work good on shitty roads like that.
So we just decided, I called her from here. I was like, hey, look, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I'm going to have to pull the motor out of my Tahoe, but I'm going to have to put pistons in it before I can put it in your car. And it was a lot. And she said, okay, well, no big deal. But you know how JJ is. The deal with JJ is everything with JJ is on a word. You know what I mean? So if JJ says, hey, I'm throwing this race, I want you guys to come, I want her to race in this race or whatever, you have a choice to say yes or no. But whatever it is, that's what it is. So when we said yes,
that means with the car or without?
That means we're coming. You know what I mean? With JJ, that means we're coming. And so I hit JJ up the night that I was in the shop here with all the generators and shit, trying to pull the motor out of my Tahoe. And I was like, hey, man, look, I'm looking at the clock, and the weather from here to Amarillo is shit. So I-40 is going to be fucked. Even if I got this thing done and in her car by midnight and we hit the road, we still might not make it. Like, it was that close. And so that's when he was just like, and I just wanted to let him know, like, hey, well, we're not trying to cop out. We're not trying to come up with excuses. We're not trying to leave you hanging, but, we just want to let you know it's probably not going to happen. And that's when he said, don't worry about the car. Don't worry about none of that shit. Just come out here. When I invited y'all out here, it wasn't, there was no stipulation on you had to bring a car. It was just come out here and be a part of this race. So, after Jackie talked to him about it and she talked to me and she said, hey, look, we told him we'd come. So car or not, I think we should go. And at that point, we just left it open with JJ. We said, okay, if we make it, cool. We make it plane tickets. That way we can, hop on a plane in the morning and we'll be there. If we make it, cool, because we had to be there by COVID test or whatever to make it. And I said, if we make it, cool. If we don't make it, we're sorry. We'll hit the next one. And that's the way we left it. That was it. So next thing,
didn't even know.
No, next thing you know, we got on a plane and we landed in Vegas to get ready. So it wasn't anything like what everybody says it is. Nobody got paid to be there, I promise you. We paid out of our ass to go to that race, and that was for JJ. That was between me and her. That was between her and JJ, really. It was just on a word. So, we weren't going to back out. She wasn't going to leave him hanging on the deal. So we showed up. When we got there, we didn't know if we were going to be welcomed or we were going to be hated or whatever, because, our relationship with Memphis hasn't always been that great, to be honest with you. And I've said some shitty things about a lot of the guys from Memphis, So we didn't really know what it was going to be like. But, you get there and it's all that's washed away as soon as you get there. As soon as you get there, it's just racers on a road doing street race shit. And so, it was cool. There was no ditching nobody, I promise you. Nothing like that at all. And I was texting the Street Outlaw guys here, the 405. I was texting the group from the 405 every 15 minutes what was happening out there. I was texting them, hey, JJ's going to fucking JJ's going to bring zip ties so Jackie can drive it. And like, I was excited, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, I hope she doesn't crash his car and all kinds of shit, and I was sending them videos and I was telling them like, hey, first round is this. There's 32 guys here. This is going to be crazy. Like, there wasn't no ditching nobody. They were in the loop the whole time. I didn't ditch nobody. You know what I mean? And hell, if they would have come out, JJ probably would have given them a car to race. So it wasn't like I ditched nobody. We didn't ditch. We don't fucking ditch people. But
if anything, it would have been us ditching Memphis and their offer of us being in their race not going.
Yeah, if we wouldn't have gone.
And that's just disrespectful.
Yeah, we didn't piss anybody off by going. But if we wouldn't have gone, we'd have pissed somebody off. So whatever. Yeah, the production crew was surprised to see us, because that's not something we normally do. We don't normally guest appear on Memphis's show, but it wasn't about Memphis's show. It wasn't about TV at all. What happened right there was not about television whatsoever.
Well, I definitely didn't go there expecting them to give us cars to drive or anything.
No, she didn't bring her helmet.
No, it was. We went there. We were gonna hang out and bet on races and go to the casino and gamble.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were gonna do. And he did say when we got there, he was like, I got this pretty little, Nova, whatever, and blah blah blah, and she can drive it if she wants to. And we were like, well, we'll see, But it wasn't something that we were, jumping to do. It was just the way it worked out. If you go and hang out with JJ, you'll figure it out. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Everything with JJ is a lot like everything with me. If you come and hang out with me, we're going to do everything on a, whim basis, and nothing's going to be set in stone. There are no plans. We get there when we get there, and we'll be where we're at. That's how it goes. So, but yeah, nobody got paid to be on that fucking show. Jesus.
I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah, but did you guys watch it? I mean,
yeah.
Can Jackie drive or not? That's the point of the story here. The whole point of the story is not what you guys are trying to make it, that we're ditching people or that we're not doing MPK because we're joining Memphis. We haven't been on a Memphis episode since, and the only time we did see JJ since then was at the
Sin City.
Yeah, the Sin City Showdown, which was JJ and Kai. So, it's still the same old shit. We just went to a race, but if you guys,
it was fun.
Yeah, if you guys saw the episode, she can drive. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's honestly what inspired us to make the changes to Caddy Jack that we did. like I talked about it in the video I did with Sim, but Caddy Jack was still independent rear. It had no cage. It sucked on blacktop roads, and being in a car that could go down a road like that was really cool. So when we got back from that race, that's when we contacted Skyview about the rear end stuff, and then also started working on getting more towards that and less daily driver.
So cool. Everybody talking about how good you can drive. It was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, if you watch the show, you could see how excited I was. You know what I mean? Because, dude, I was so nervous. You know, like watching her drive Caddy Jack is amazing. It's amazing to see her do it on blacktop and in the street and everything else. She can drive, but you know how it is. Like you don't know what somebody can actually do.
Oh,
what you don't. You just don't know. She's told me before she can drive, and I've had my doubts every once in a while because if somebody makes 100 perfect passes, that doesn't mean they can drive. You know what I mean? That doesn't tell you shit. If somebody makes 100 perfect passes, that just means they can make 100 perfect passes. You only find out if they can drive when they're put in that situation where it's too far gone and there's only a handful of people on earth that could make the right decision at that time not to wad that car up. And so you don't know what, and I've talked about this with Phil Cook before. He's a good friend of mine, builds motors out of Duncan, Oklahoma. And his daughter started racing fast cars, funny cars and shit like that. And he was telling me all the time, he's like, with Jackie, he's like, man, when you guys were racing with Jackie, he's like, how did you know she could drive? How did you know to go up to the next step or whatever, And I was like, oh, I didn't. I had no idea. Like there was no moment where I'm just like, oh yeah, she's fine. Like there was we went to Kansas and she raced up there and it was really, really shit road. And I was like, oh yeah, she's going to pile this motherfucker up now. Like, I mean, it's very rare that I videotape her races. And I pulled my phone out and I was like, I'm going to get this one because
You're so shitty.
I was like, she's going to pile this CTSV up on the side of the fucking road over there. And she didn't, and it was sideways and she was pedaling and I was like, sweet. And I was so happy. And I was like, man, you can drive. And she's like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, did you see that? Like, you can fucking drive. Shitty. And she's like, I told you I could drive. And I was like, yeah, you told me, but you really can. She was like, that's fucked up. She was mad at me for a little while. But then even with that, even knowing that she can drive, when she got in JJ's car, I was like, oh man. I was like, she gonna pile this motherfucker up.
And right before, everyone's like, I did this and I did this. And I don't know what's funnier yet, so I'm not gonna say it, but they're all talking about the crazy attitude of that car, and I was like, fucking great. Like, and then people are like, this road is so sketchy. Like, he crashed here, he crashed here. Like, I was like, so the fucking craziest car and the sketchiest road, like,
yeah, when we got
I'm
to
gonna
the
look
road,
like shit.
When we got to the road, I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's narrow and it's fucking gnarly.
There's
like,
no shoulder.
No, the shoulder is desert and it drops off. Like, it doesn't look like it on TV probably, but the drop off it's serious. So, when I saw that, I was just like, oh man. I was like, she is fixing to bury this car out there with Hoffa and all them Vegas monsters out here in the desert somewhere. But that's what they used to do back in the day in Vegas. Like, all the gangsters would drive them outside of the city and bury them in the desert, and that's where I thought you were going to bury Zip Tie.
All the people on the internet said I do, so.
Yeah, they all said you buried it. But yeah, once I saw her, in that car, man, it was fucking awesome. I was so proud. I was like, so excited. Like, I mean, there was a moment when, me and JJ haven't always gotten along. And, everybody kind of knows the story, you know what I mean? Like, so we have our ups and downs. We respect each other and we can deal with each other and we have a good time when we're together. It's the befores and the afters that get weird, because of all the people around us. And so, but man, there was a moment when JJ was happy at what the car did and I was happy at what she did. And there was a moment when I was literally jumping up and down in the street with JJ, like holding hands, jumping up and down. Like, that was, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? But yeah, it was, man, that was a cool experience for sure. That was awesome. Just being able to to see her get to do it. And then what's crazy is she did so good at it, and you know, and even though she made the first pass and it was good, and I was like, damn, dude, like she can drive.
Don't give it away.
I was still thinking like, can she? You know what I mean? Like, what if it gets really sideways though? Like, what if it's just way out of shape? You know what I mean? And then, and then it's way out of shape. The next pass, and she's burp, burp, burp. And I was like, what the fuck?
Stop.
So, yeah, it was awesome. I don't know if that's aired yet or
I
not.
just said don't.
They don't know what the fuck I'm just rambling. They don't know what I'm talking
This
about.
is gonna be the last episode of this.
Oh yeah. Probably.
But for the record, I'm not new to racing. As much as people want to act like Chief's gonna teach her how to race, or Chief put her in a car. No, like I'm not new to racing. I'm not. No, just all of it is a hard no. Like,
but after that, after she drove that car, after she did that, because we had been discussing for a long time what she was going to do, like what she wanted to do, because I could push her to get a big tire car and try and go race on the list or race in OKC or street race, with a big tire car or whatever, because that's what I do. But that may not be what she does or what she's into, and we've been discussing that for a long time. And she was kind of on the fence about everything, because she was like, she had fun in the track stuff with Caddy Jack. She had fun trying to break the stock records, and she had fun doing the street stuff with the late model cars and stuff like that. But then that car was in a weird situation because it was too fast for the normal weekend cars on the street, but it was too slow for the, small tire cash days stuff. So it was in a weird spot that it makes the car hard to race, because you can go to all these big races, but you're going to get your ass kicked. Or you could go out on a regular Saturday night in Oklahoma City and you're not going to get a race, and because you're being a bully, so. And we kept thinking about it. I was like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want a big tire? Do you want to chassis it? Do you want to buy something else? Like, what do you want to do? And she had always stuck to the, whatever she did, she wanted it to be her car. And that's why I was and that's tough, because man, I don't want to build that fucking car. That car is, they're heavy. They're the mid play, or the motor's so far forward in them. They're just a shit car, but she likes the car and that's what she wants to do. So that's kind of kept getting brought up. But man, as soon as we stepped off the plane from Vegas, when she got done with that race, she knew. I mean, it was instant. And she just told me straight up, she's like, that's what I want to do. And I was like, what? Race on Memphis shows? Like,
oh boy, here we go.
Well, you want to move to Memphis? I don't get it.
No.
She said, no. I said, you want to race zip tie? That's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? Like, I can't.
I mean, you did try to buy it.
Oh yeah, you can't buy that car. There's no money you're gonna buy that car for. And you could build another one just like it, and it wouldn't be the same as that car. You know what I mean? You could build 20 of them with the same shit, and it wouldn't be the same as that car. So there's nothing I could do to repeat of that car. But that's what she said she wanted to do. She wanted to do small tire, asphalt, whatever street, just small tire street racing at that level, at the cash days level. And so I was like, okay, that's what we'll do. So that's when we started, taking everything with her car more serious, and that's what we've been doing. So it was an awesome experience, and I'm glad that it happened, because now she has a direction that she wants to go, and she's good at it. Shit. Heck, if I can build her car half as good as Zip Tie, she'll be able to win some fucking races for sure. So.
Yes.
But I ain't ditching nobody.
Nobody's ditched.
Where are we at?
We're on the MPK sticking out.
Oh, we're on the MPK part? Okay, here we go. If it blacks out or we get shut down or whatever, just know, they found us.
Man, get her some seat time.
Huh?
I just wrote get her some
seat time. She did pretty good. I think she's got some seat time. She just needs her car running, really.
Yeah,
she
give me
needs
some
her car
work.
So when it comes to MBK, we don't feel the need to post every race that we're not going to.
That's just shitty.
You know what I mean? Like, we have told everybody from the beginning, and we continue to do it. If we're going to go to a race, we let everybody know. If we're going to any race, whether it's street, track, whatever, if we're going to go to a race, we let everybody know, especially if it's somewhere that the fans can go, like MPK or like a no prep race. You can look back on, at my Instagram or whatever, and we always let people know where we're going, But even though you may think, it seems crazy that I don't let everybody know that I'm not going to MPK, it's really shitty for me to let everyone know I'm not going somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Who does that? Who's going to post that page just so everybody knows I am not going to this race?
The only time we did that was when they used your pictures to sell.
On Armageddon, I did that but that wasn't because I wanted people to know I wasn't going. That's just because I didn't want people to think I was going. You know what I mean? I didn't want people to show up there to see me, because they don't get pissed at the promoter. They don't get pissed at the track. They don't get pissed at the guy putting the race on when I'm not there. They get pissed at me. And they say, I'm too good, or I wanted too much money, or whatever the case may be. So that's the only time I've ever done that. But there's no point in me to go out there and put all over the social media that I'm not going to this race. Every weekend. Every weekend, I'm not going to this race. I'm not going to that race. Like, it's not me. I'll let you know when I'm going to a race. When I'm going to any race that you can come to, I'll let you know. That's, what I do. So, everybody keeps asking, and they keep putting it on everybody, and they say, why is it some big secret? It's not. It's literally there's no secret. It's not some big secret, but it's just not, there is nothing fucking nice about making a giant post or an announcement to let someone know you're not going to do something. Like, you know what I mean? It would be like, what do you do if you're, somebody in your family you don't like has a birthday party and you don't go? You just don't go. You know what I mean? You don't post it on your Facebook. Just to let everybody know I'm not going to be going to Timmy the Mouth Breather's 9th birthday party, okay? My cousins are dickheads, and I don't want to see them or their kids, so fuck them. You don't do that. You know what I mean? So there's no point in me acting like that or saying I'm not going. The deal is just, if I'm going to go, I'll tell you. If I end up going to any of them, I'll let you know before I go. But as of right now, that's it. I'm not going to say I'm not going. I'm just going to say, if I go, I'll let you know. Just like every other race out there. In MPK, it's just like every other race out there. I will let you know if I'm going. No secrets, no big hidden nothing. It's not that I hate anything or I don't want to go to a race because of anything other than I'm just not going or I am going. And if I go, I'll let you know. Pretty easy. See, we didn't get shut off. As far as I can tell, we're still here. Comments are still rolling. I don't know. Everybody thought that was going to be really, really crazy, but it wasn't.
I thought you were going to get on a big old rant.
I don't have nothing to rant about. I'm just,
I don't know. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes I do. You're right. Now I can rant about what they're doing or what the racing that's going on now, or what's the latest thing in MPK that they're freaking out about, that everybody's talking about. Chuck?
I don't know if we should do that.
What'd Chuck do?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that hasn't aired yet, right?
Yeah, none of that's aired, so let's not do that.
If it hasn't aired, I'm really not supposed to talk about it. And it's not a good idea, To be honest, it's not even that I'm not supposed to, because everybody knows I'll do it anyway. But if it hasn't aired yet, it's kind of shitty for someone that's not on that show to talk about what went on that show. Like,
to make money off of it.
Especially if you make money off of it. You know what I mean? Because any information that's put out there beforehand changes someone's view of whether they want to watch the show or not. So, everybody that's doing all these YouTubes and all these videos and all these lives and everything, and they're showing all the results from all the races, and they're showing the drama and the controversy at
every aspect.
I mean, they're showing
the whole TV
the
show.
whole show on YouTube. So the night that show is supposed to air on television, the person that has to decide whether they're going to watch it or not, what are they going to do? Oh yeah, man. I didn't know that happened. That sounds cool. I should watch it tonight because, that dude looks pissed off about that, whatever it was that happened. But no, he's going to go, oh yeah, and I remember that was like 6 months ago. It all blew over. Now nobody cares. Like,
everybody already knows everything.
Everybody already knows what happened. They're all cool. They're talking again or whatever. Like, that's not something that I'm going to do. I'm not. I don't hate on anyone or anything that they're doing. I'm not gonna hate on anybody anywhere. Whatever it is the fuck they're doing, I wish them success in all of it, and that's MPK included. Just because I wasn't there at the last race, or just because I'm not there today or whatever, doesn't mean that I don't want it to be successful or that I'm not going to be there tomorrow. You know what I mean? It just means that I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. I'm not going to shit on it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to I'm not going to change anyone's idea of whether they want to watch the show or not when it airs. And man, I mean, every time I open my phone, it's every single detail from every MPK race is spilled out as it's happening. Like,
it's not
literally.
Even like, but I remember the year that we did it,
man,
they were like, no lives. Like, they had the security guards would kick people out, and now there's people making livings off of it.
It's gotten to the point where how do you keep up with? You would have to hire a SWAT team, you know what I mean, or 10 SWAT teams at every event to keep up with all the people that are taking their phone and they're doing this, you know what I mean, or they're taking a GoPro on a stick and they're just poking it around everywhere. Like, you can't keep up with that because there's so many people that are doing blogs. There's so many people that are doing self videos that, are just what they're doing that day. How do you distinguish between that at the time? When you see a guy walking around with a GoPro, you say, hey, put that away. And they say, I'm filming my own blog. Because nowadays everybody's a fucking YouTuber blogger. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, look, we're doing it right now. But how do you distinguish between somebody that's just telling about their day or what they're doing, or, how do you tell the difference between that and somebody that's spilling all the content from the show onto the internet? You can't. So it's
they're
just
uploaded 2 minutes after the race. Like,
it's crazy. I remember before it was hard to figure out the results. Every once in a while you could get on Instagram, and if you knew whose shit to look at, you could see people say congrats to a certain person, or you'd see Javi, with a picture of all the money, new phone, who this or whatever, and
I think you did it too.
Huh? I never did that. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But Javi was the one. Back in the day, if you wanted to know who won MPK, you just went to, some of those guys' Instagrams, and you could look and
the
tell.
Crews,
You could look at the crew who was proud of the job that they did while they were there, or proud of their, their crew, their car, whatever. Or you could look at some of the parts manufacturers that were, you'd see somebody like Smith Brothers or somebody, TND or whatever, and you'd see those guys say, hey, congrats to, such and such on their win this weekend, and that would be about it because they run their products. And so you kind of you could kind of figure out who won. You could kind of figure out who was in the final. But getting video of the race was actually tough, and finding out any details on it was tough. But man, this year, sometimes I think it happens on my phone before it happens in real life. Sometimes I think this stuff, because man, it's just pouring out there now. I mean, there's people that are traveling around the country with GoPros strapped to their head, and they're just filming every bit of it and putting it on the internet. So, man, that's, especially when you realize that some of those people are making money off of it. You know what I mean? They're making money to spoil a TV show. The TV show is there making original content for their television show, and it's awesome enough that they're letting fans be a part of it, and it's awesome enough that the fans get to see the Street Outlaws, and it's awesome that the fans get to be a part of the television show as it's happening. That is awesome. But when you realize that there's people that are making money by releasing that original content that's not theirs, they didn't have anything to do with making that. They're not a racer. They don't race. They're not a crew. You know what I mean? They're not a manufacturer. They don't even they're not even selling T-shirts for Doc. Like, you know what I mean? I could get it if they were that, you know what I mean? But they're not. They're just walking around using someone else's original content to make their own. That drives me fucking insane, by the way. See, I did rant about MPK, but it wasn't what everybody thought I was going to rant about. Yeah. Let's see.
Please address the Krill mod MPK rumor.
They all know. They all know who it is. Oh shit!
It's true though. Like
I'm not
it's
saying
just
no
shit.
names because that's not what I do. I ain't spoiling nothing. Y'all can look around, figure out the few different
It's not just
pages.
one person
Yeah,
either.
no, it's not just
multiple
one group.
pages.
Not one group, not one person. There's multiple people and pages. There are people that are posting the bracket. They're posting the bracket of like, this is who races first round. And then they say, okay, after this, if all these people win, this is who could be racing next round. And then they post, okay, this is actually who's racing. This is what lane they're in. And then they post the winner. They post the video and everything. Like,
everybody knows who breaks, what breaks on it. Like,
it's great for people like me who want to be in on the racing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm constantly, I just texted Sean the other day. I was like, dude, hey man, you're gonna get one, man. It's coming, bro. It's coming. Don't push it. It's coming, but because I like to keep up with racing. Even if I'm not there doing it, I still like to keep up with it. I'm still a racer. I love to, to see it, hear about it, and be in the know. And I love to look at combos. I love to bitch about rules, So, I sit there and I watch who's doing what and who wins what. I'm very, very invested in the content, and it's awesome that I get so much of it. But man, that's crazy.
It's gonna suck for the TV show because ratings are what gets it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's our opinion that the release of, the so many people releasing the original content sucks. That's our opinion, but it could help the show. Who knows? I mean, we're not, if we've learned so much about television that the biggest part we've learned is that we don't know shit about it. So it could help and we not know it. I mean, it could be one of those situations where all the buzz about it and the people learning about it, hearing about it, they hear that when they see the teaser for the show coming out and they want to watch it because they remember hearing about it. I don't know how it all boils out, but it's just crazy to me that it's out there that fucking quick, man, but it's great for fans, great because that's what I am right now. I'm just an MPK fan. So it's great for fans, but man, it's crazy for the guys that are out there that are too busy to make YouTube videos, that are racing, that are working on cars, that are doing maintenance. There are guys that aren't getting paid near enough money to lay in hot transmission fluid and work on cars till 5 a.m. with no sleep. And they're not, they don't have time to upload videos and make content, walk around the staging lanes and talk about what secret stuff is here. And, this guy brought his other car and this guy did this, you know what I mean? Like, so that part is unfortunate, but whatever. It is what it is. There's enough of them out there that if you stopped one of them, it wouldn't stop. There's fucking 5 or 6 of them out there doing it now. So
and it's hard to control.
Yeah. What was the next one? Crow mod?
Why is the crow mod not there?
Not where?
At MPK.
Oh, the crow mod isn't legal for MPK. Plain and simple.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. I mean,
it won't be legal. It can't be legal.
It's not the spirit of No Prep Kings. It's not.
It's just
it's not what it is. No Prep Kings is about steel body race cars. You know what I mean? And and it really should reflect the brand of the person racing it. To be honest with you, I mean, it's a live event now. If nothing else, it's a live event. That's what people are going to see, and fans are showing up in droves to watch that show unfold. So the spirit of the class is steel body that people want to go out and see what they see on TV or what they see you racing on the show. And so the Crow Mod isn't that. The Crow Mod is a carbon fiber body, wore out, outdated Pro Mod is all it is. I'm sure I could try to skirt around some rules and put some steel panels on it or take some of this off, put that on or whatever. But, it's still not going to be, it's not like it was a few years ago where you can take a wore out Pro Mod and slap some steel panels on it and kick everybody's ass. You know what I mean? It's just not like that anymore. It's been going on long enough. It's been going on for a few years now. And it's at the point now where, it was all steel bodied shit, whatever, OG type cars. And then some other cars came in. And so then it was some, pro mods that had some stuff moved around and outdated pro mods that now they're racing in this. They had some steel roofs put on them or whatever, and that was competitive. But now, now it's purpose built, no prep king cars. These aren't cars that are built for anything. The cars that are winning these races every weekend, these aren't cars that were built for other shit. These are cars that were built for no prep kings. Period. They were built to dominate in a class that pays 40 grand to win a month. So, even if the Chromont,
per race.
Sorry, per race. It used to be per month. It's per race, which is like every 3 days now, apparently. But the Chromod, even if they said, sure, bring it, I get my ass kicked in that car. Like, these cars are purpose built, no prep kings cars. You're not going to take a car that was built for anything else and dominate no prep kings. I was lucky with my car when we went to no prep kings the last season that they had or whatever. Like, when we went there, I was lucky enough with my car to have some success. I won my third race that I went to. I won the whole fucking thing. And we went to the semis a few times. We had some success with the car in no prep kings, but it was a constant struggle because it was a purpose-built street race car that I was trying to win no prep kings with. And at that point in time, a lot of the top cars were purpose-built street race cars that were being converted into no prep cars, or they were, converted already or whatever. But man, now, you look at it now and it's purpose-built no prep kings cars. These aren't cars that were built for anything else. These aren't cars that have done anything else. If you look at the guys who are winning these races, these aren't cars that have done anything else and they converted them. These are cars that were built to do one thing, and that's kick ass at no prep kings, and that's what they're doing, and they're doing it well. So it wouldn't matter if they told me to bring the Crow Mod right now. Justin Swanstrom and Ryan and all those guys would kick my teeth in. So, I got nothing for them with the Crow Mod.
The car that you race now has been faster than the Crow Mod ever had been anyway, and that car is still hard to compete in. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. To tell you the truth, the Crow Mod needs so many others. I mean, it's a great drag radio car right now. You could put drag radios on it and it would do well at drag radio events because it is so light, and because the mid plate, where the mid plate is in the car, and where the 4-link brackets are in the car, it works great as a radio car. But to put that thing on big tires and try and run 200 mile an hour out the back door on big tires, it would need some updates for sure. And so if I had a choice, if that was going to be something I had to do, I would rather take the car that I drive now. I'd rather take the steel body car. I think I'd have more chance winning a race in the steel body car than I would the Crow Mod the way it currently sits. Yep. What else? Who makes the rules on NPK? They have a committee. They have some tech guys that they've hired. Hang on. Let me paraphrase. Let me start that again. I have no idea because I'm not there, so I don't know. But I think as a fan of NPK, I think they have a rule committee that gets together to talk about rules, and they have some tech directors that look at the cars and they know a little bit about combinations from other things that they've done. And so I think they help a little bit with the rules. But as far as I can tell, the racers make the rules. And so, they get together and they try and come up with the thing that works best for everybody, is what I can tell anyway. If it's any different than that, don't bitch at me about it because I don't know. I'm just a fan like everybody else. No, the Crow Mod doesn't have a motor in it right now.
The motor that was in the Crow Mod went into the current car when you built that.
What did that say? How do I do that?
Scroll up. Which one?
Does your car fit the rules of the windshield layback? Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100,000%. Million%. I didn't change the body at all. I didn't change the A-pillars. I didn't tuck the A-pillars. I didn't lay the A-pillars back. The pillars, the roof, all that stuff's 100% stock from 50 years ago. I didn't change any of that. The only thing I did with the windshield, I didn't change the eyebrow of the windshield. I didn't change any of that. The only thing I changed with the windshield was the bottom of the windshield. I extended it out and up. So the windshield area of the car is 100% stock. The front end is stock. The pillars are stock. All that stuff stock. The only thing I did was I poked the windshield out and up at the base, and I pushed the hood down around it. That's all I did. So no, it's not. Nothing on that car is modified to where it wouldn't fit MPK. It literally fits MPK rules to a T. Other than the deck spoiler.
In the field.
The deck spoiler is it's got bigger spill plates than what they allow. The length is right, but the spill plates are a little too high, I think. And the fuel, yeah, I mean, they don't allow nitromethane. So, are you building a no prep car? Because I heard you was building a Trans Am. No, I'm not building a no prep car. No.
Maybe that's what Jeff's building for you.
Oh yeah, if somebody's building me one of those, please let me know, because I'd like to have some input on what they're building if they are. But no, I have not contracted or told or asked or paid for anybody to do anything for me. I'm not building a no prep Kings car or any no prep car at all. I'm not building any new car right now. I'm not doing that. Who is behind MPK? I'm behind on MPK. What do you mean?
You're not behind because you can watch on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I'm not really behind it now. What do you mean, who's behind? I don't know. Who's behind MPK? I don't get it. Okay, I don't get it. Where can I get your merchandise? MidwestStreetCars.com, Matt Albs. He said, where can I get your merchandise?
I was like, Matt Albs.
When do I get to drive your car?
Shit.
Jeff Beechler.
He said LOL JK.
Oh. Is there going to be a new season of Street Outlaws? Yes, we already filmed it. It's in the bag. It'll be on TV soon.
He's out of town.
What made you a Pontiac man? I thought I was the only one left, so I found it on Street Outlaws. It was my first car. I had a 72 Le Mans. It was my first car. And, I've told the story a bunch, but just having a Pontiac motor in a Pontiac and going to the races and being slow as fuck, and everybody asking me the same question over and over again, which was, when are you going to put a small block Chevy in there and be fast? Or, when are you going to...
Why would that be faster?
Well, at the time, that's what was fast. At the time, nobody had made any Pontiacs that were fast around here. Nobody had even tried. At the time, it was first thing you did if you had a Pontiac is you ditch the motor in it, put a 350 or a 383 in it. So that's what I was building originally for it. But I just got tired of people asking that. And I was like, I'm going to do a little research and see what I can do with a Pontiac. And thankfully, there were some guys back then that were doing it. Jim Hand was one of them. He had a 10 or 11 second wagon. Le Mans wagon or GTO wagon. He was extremely fast with a Pontiac motor. And then there was the big name guys, Tom McCarthy and those guys back in the day did it with super stock and factory stocks and stuff like that. So I bought one of their books, bought Super Stock Pontiac book or whatever on how to build super stock Pontiac. So read through some of the tricks they did, and I was like, hey, these motors ain't too bad. They run. They were running on the index or, a tenth faster than the index back in the day. So it was kind of like, could be done. It was more work. You had to learn more about it, but it could be done. So that's why I started building them. And once I started getting into it and I put it on paper, I was like, whoa, wait a second. I was like, this thing is a 10-2 deck from the factory. It's a 464 bore space from the factory, or 4624. 4623. Yeah, whatever. That's the bore space from the factory. So the small block Chevy is like, 400 or something. So it's better. And then it had a 10-2 deck, which is an inch taller than a small block Chevrolet. So I was like, man, this thing is actually pretty cool on paper. And then it had a 14-degree valve angle. And I was like, whoa, small block Chevy is 23 or 24 degrees. So I was like, man, I don't know why these things don't run better, because on paper, it looks pretty good. So that's when I started getting with the Butlers and learning about them and started building I built some fast cast iron Pontiac junk back in the day. Me and a guy named Larry here locally, we built it in his little shop behind his house. He used to crew on Jimmy Nix's Top Fuel cars from around here. And so he had built a bunch of Hemis and stuff with him. And so he helped me build one of my first Pontiac motors. And I mean, it was all cast iron junk 6X heads or whatever, or 62. I think they were 62s. I had a set of 6Xs, and I went to 62s, and then, but that deal, it ran 1080s all motor, 4,000 pounds. So once I figured out, it doesn't matter what's on the valve cover. It's just all in the work you put into it. Once I figured that out, things got a little easier.
There's a lot of questions about how season 2 of America's List is going to go, but we don't do spoilers.
No, we don't know how. Well, we don't know how it's
yeah,
going to
we
go.
also don't know, but any ideas we do have, we don't want to spoil.
Yeah, as we've been talking about it, you know, I've been online. I mean, if you guys go to the Street Outlaws fan pages and stuff on Facebook, I'm in there all the time, you know, and I'm arguing back and forth with those people just like everybody else. But I listen to a lot of the ideas, and I talk a little bit about some of the stuff I'm thinking about. And just because you see me in there arguing about Chase the Race or arguing about whatever, you know, I have to defend the rules that I made. I have to defend my decision at the time. But I also am smart enough to know that if it needs adjusted, you know, and I do think that our current platform or whatever, our current thing needs to be adjusted. I just don't know how I'm going to do it yet. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you guys anyway. So
could y'all go tell people?
Because then everybody would tell, you know, everybody would just bitch about the rules before it even happens. So, you know, I can promise you this: if I could do it perfectly, none of you would like it. So it's never going to be perfect. None of you would talk about it either if it was perfect. Because you know who does it perfect? The NHRA. And you know who watches that? Fucking nobody.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Let's talk about ruining that plan or no?
About what?
Ruining the plan.
Ruining what plan? Ruined Ryan's plan of number 1. Oh, on America's List. Yeah. So it's been a few weeks ago that aired, but yeah.
There's still a lot of comments.
Yeah, there's still a lot of comments on that deal. So a lot of people watched America's List, and they saw Ryan coming up the list, and he was kicking ass, and he had been, I think he started 11, was all the way up to 4 or 5, and I watched the show just like everybody else did, so I learned about it at the same time. I didn't know anything about it beforehand, but as you watch the show, you hear Ryan and Sean, those guys talking, and their plan was for Ryan and Sean to race, and then they get the call out. Ryan beats Sean. Sean calls Ryan back out, and then they had planned on me calling out up, and then they were going to wait until I raced, and then they were going to recant the call out so that they could call me, so that Ryan could call me out. It was basically a way for Sean to deal with Scott Taylor, I think, and for Ryan to get the chance to move up without racing me. But we were getting down to where, you know, if you made one mistake, you were fucking screwed on time. So I felt like my best chance would be to get another pass in and then make another run for the top, one last push for the top. And I didn't really care who it was or which way I had to go to get it. And seeing the Axeman and Kai Kelly thing play out, you know, I made my decision at the last minute there. But I thought Ryan would be happy with it because I wasn't going to hold him up. You know, I mean, if Ryan would have had to if he would have had to wait on me to go a whole nother round of racing someone else, there's a good chance that I could have beat whoever was there, and then they call me back out, and Ryan would have been stuck there for 2 more rounds of racing. And then it would have been, I fucking screwed him out of his chance at number 1. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe they didn't think that plan through very much, or maybe they didn't. Maybe that was their plan all along. I don't know, but I didn't screw Ryan's plan up on purpose. I don't feel like I screwed it up at all.
You didn't even know about it.
I didn't have any idea. And if that was the 405 plan, I didn't know anything about it. But
how are you supposed to go along with a plan that you don't know? You know.
But in the long run, you know, I mean,
didn't beat you.
In the bigger picture, if his plan was to get to number 1, the best way to do that is to race right now. So if he would have had to wait 2 more rounds on me racing somebody and them calling me back out or whatever, he would have been stuck there a lot longer. So I actually did Ryan a favor by, by not calling out above so that he could race up right then and there and not have to wait on Sean and Scott Taylor to call it. Because if I would have raced up, beat them, they called me back out, And then Sean being here, if he'd have got beat by Scott Taylor or whatever, they would have called Ryan out, and Ryan wouldn't have got to go up. He'd have been sitting there. So I don't think they thought that one through very much, but whatever. Well, I mean,
but if Ryan would have beat you, then there wouldn't.
If Ryan would have beat me, then he would have.
There would have been no problem.
He would have ran all the way up to the top. But then
instead, when he doesn't, you get blamed for a plan not working out that you didn't even know about.
I don't think Ryan blamed me for that, though. I think that was everybody else. I think Ryan. I think that Sean. I think it was Sean's plan that we fucked up more than Ryan's. Really, Ryan was involved with the plan, but I don't think Ryan. I think Ryan's plan was to try and race up as quick as possible to get to number one. I think Sean's plan was to keep Ryan moving up and not have to deal with Scott Taylor. So, in the end, I didn't really fuck up anybody's plan but my own because I didn't get to number one. So, it doesn't really matter anyway. Whatever. What else? Is a 405 going to be on Fast in America? I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't. I've asked that question of myself a bunch. I don't know. We talk about it, every once in a while. I'll get on the phone with Ryan. We'll talk about it, come up with pros and cons of that race, and it's just a lot to do, and it never happens when we're able to do a lot. You know what I mean? It's always when we're filming or right before we start a new season or right after we, get done and our shit's all wore out. So that's tough. That's a tough question. I don't know the answer to be honest with you. For the 405 to be on that show involves a whole lot more shit than me. It's not my decision. It's not my call. So who knows? If they want us on there bad enough, then I'm sure it'll happen. I don't have a problem. I'll race whatever. I don't care. Going so fast. Is the top 10 list done? No, it's not done. No, it's just on pause. It's just on pause while we can do something bigger. Right now, we've done the top 10 list for almost 10 years now, and it's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride on that list. So it's just on pause right now while we get the opportunity to go do America's list. It's not done. It's not over. It's not, we didn't throw it away. We didn't get rid of it. None of that shit. It's just on pause while we race to find out who gets to go and be a part of something bigger. America's list is like wartime for us. You know what I mean? So when there's a war going on, you don't fight at home over list shit. You know what I mean? You try and figure out who goes and who doesn't. Ryan changed his whole combo after America's list because he knew the Fireball was competitive anymore. I don't even know if that's a question or a statement. I don't know. I don't know if that's what Ryan thought, but I doubt it. I personally feel like Ryan was going to change to that combo at some point anyway in the red car. He had already done it in the gray car. The gray car had been that combo for a year or two. He'd been collecting parts. He'd been collecting spare motors and spare drives and spare pro chargers and all that stuff. So, it only makes sense if Ryan has one car with all the latest and greatest pro charged Hemi stuff. It only makes sense that he would eventually convert his other car to the same thing. You know what I mean? I don't think that had anything to do with America's list. I think that was coming. I think that Ryan knows that combination is better. And I think that at the time, Ryan just didn't have time in between all the stuff that was going on to change it over. So, I don't think that, I think Ryan was headed that way anyway. I don't think America's list did anything to change his mind. Ryan's pretty good about making decisions. He's pretty solid about what he's going to do. And he doesn't usually let anyone else change that. So, Ryan's not the guy to go out and get beat and then go buy all that shit. That's not him. You know what I mean? So I don't think that made a difference in Ryan's decision making or not. I think he was going to do it anyway.
One last one.
Hey, look, says Ryan said the same thing himself. It was all down to the spares and parts are interchangeable for simplicity. See there? Told you. Big Spoon knows what's up. Whoever Big Spoon is. Cool name, by the way.
Pick your last question.
My last question? I don't have any questions.
Yeah, almost 2 hours.
Holy shit, this thing going 2 hours? Oh yeah, no, I'm fucking done. Are you still tuning for other people? I have certain select people that I tune for, friends, old clients, people that give me a blank sheet of paper and let me do whatever the fuck I want. I still tune for those type of people, and I'm still doing some private stuff for Street Race guys. Every once in a while, they'll come down and we'll go to the track for a day or two, and then we'll go to the street and tune their stuff. And I do stuff for them, but I charge a shitload of money, and and I can concentrate on each car individually. So, and it's very under the table secretive, not money wise. Money goes to the business, but it's very under the table. Like, I'm not the type of guy to take credit for anybody else's car, even if I'm tuning it. So people bring me their shit, leave it with me for a couple of days, or they'll stay here for a couple of days with me, and we'll go out and tune it. And they pay me good money to do it, and then I don't tell anybody I did it. Works out great. Bong or blunts?
Oh boy.
I'll let her answer that because I don't really smoke.
No.
Pre-rolls.
Let's not go this way.
All right, we're out of here then, right?
Yes.
2 weeks we'll do it again, but I think in 2 weeks, instead of just a Q&A, I think it's going to be more of like current events, current Street Outlaw stuff. So we'll talk about like, the Memphis show. Yeah, because Memphis is
our episode
Memphis is ramping up pretty good. So we'll talk about stuff going on with Memphis, and we'll talk about and also we'll have bigger updates on the cars and everything going on around here too.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's it. No other questions? Who did your shit in your office? It's waving to me. You're painted blue. It's the friendliest office in town.
What?
Still got bullet holes in it. Subscribe. Yeah, we got to do the YouTube shit, right?
You do.
You got to subscribe. Hit the links. I'm dropping comments, links to the stuff.
He's not dropping anything.
I'm dropping the links to all of my wardrobe and the makeup I used today. Just kidding. Yeah, subscribe and all that. I don't know. Do you subscribe to live? I don't think you do.
Subscribe to the channel to see the lives. Like it. Comment.
There you go. If Corbin or if my two boys were here, they could say it. They're good at it.
They can
ring the bell and do the stuff. All right. See you guys later.